Hi, Preston Sandlin here with Home Inspection Carolina. Today I wanted to talk about inspecting gas water heaters. I thought this would be a good topic because, even if you're a homeowner, there's probably a couple of things you ought to periodically check on your water heater, gas water heater. So first, let's talk about what we're not talking about. We're not talking about electric water heaters. If you have a big electrical conduit line coming to your water heater and you don't have a gas line and you don't have some type of flue, you probably have electric. So that'll be another video. Also, we're not talking about on-demand water heaters. We're talking about the tank, where it's probably going to be 40, 50, or 75 gallons, usually the most popular ones. So what do we look for when we do the inspection? Well, first and foremost, we make sure that the type of gas being supplied is the type of gas that unit uses. So we look on the plate, if it's, because there's natural gas, there's propane, there's methane, there's a manufacturer type gas. In our area, most of the time, it is natural gas, but sometimes it's propane, and they have different systems for that. You just make sure you got the matched up system. Never had the problem with water heaters, but I have had that on gas logs a bunch. Whole nother video. So all right, so then the other thing we're looking for is some drip leg. They need to have a drip leg where the line's going into the system. It's like a little boot, and what this does is keeps moisture or sediment from getting into the system. All right, from there, we're going to follow that in, look at the burner chamber, make sure there's no, flame rollout, any markings, look for corrosion, that sort of thing. The other thing is, we're looking at the condition of the tank, any dents, anything like that. Then we're going to start checking out the flue. That's the gas coming in, the flame's there, looking at the flame, looking for a pattern, looking for dents in flame. Now the byproduct, which is carbon monoxide. We got to make sure that it gets out properly. There's not any really harsh 90-degree angles or anything like that where we don't have any backdrafting. We want to make sure that it's all connected. And now there's different types of piping. Usually just the straight up one, we're going to have some type of metal piping or B-venting. You got to make sure that it's not touching anything that's combustible. That thing's going to be 180, 190 degrees. So, it's got to have a little bit of a fire stop there. Now there is some issues with the plastic. If you see one with plastic, we're dealing with a high efficiency unit. So straight out of the code here. I apologize for the boringness of it, but we've got to do this. For plastic flue vent piping, check to make sure the pipe, the fittings, and the solvent are all listed for use in the system for venting combustive gases. Temperature limits for various materials are PVC 140 to 149. CPVC limit is 180. Polypropylene, manufactured specifically for venting combustion gases, limit is 230. So anyway, just make sure there's no leaking, anything like that. We're going to do a carbon monoxide test there. Now let's talk about, all right, so we've basically, gas is coming in, it's getting burned, and is heating the water. Also check for leaks. And we've got the gas byproducts leaving, so got that taken care of. Now let's talk about the water being heated. You got a tank here. We're not really going to get into anode rods. That's another show too. We can do a deep dive here anywhere, but what we're looking for is just major safety things. Temperature pressure relief valve. So let's say for some reason that thing malfunctioned and it just kept heating the water. See, it comes on and off when it's needed. But suppose it just kept on heating that water, that would turn into a bomb because the pressure would just get to be so immense, boom. So what there's a temperature pressure relief valve, TPR valve, aptly named. It has a spring in there, and it'll usually have a little thing on it, and there's two things that will set this spring off, either the pressure or the temperature. And let's see, I think the temperature is like 210, pressure is like 150 psi. If it hits either one of those two, that thing will depress. And sometimes you'll get it that'll just start leaking over time. Every 7 or 8 years, you just about need to replace it. But a couple things to note about this TPR valve. You want to make sure that it's there, it's piped down, it's not piped into the plumbing system. Also, it needs to be within 6 inches of the ground. It can't be a higher up than that or missing, because that's a danger for blowing out scalding water over 150 degrees, and it's going to burn somebody. There can't be any other joints, another like elbow or T or anything. That pressure needs to be just being able to get on out of there. You don't want any other type of valve or anything like that that can back it up. It can't go from one size pipe to a smaller pipe. That's going to back it up as well. So it just needs to be a straight pipe down to within 6 inches of the ground. They make specifically for that. Now here's another thing. That pipe, at the end of that pipe, can't be threaded, because they don't want any possibility of somebody hooking something else up to that. They just want it to just discharge. So anyway, temperature pressure relief valve, very, very, very important. The other thing we talk about, let's go back to the gas. We've got to make sure that there's adequate combustible air. Sometimes they put these in a closet. There's got to be either high-low or some type of ventilation getting in there. A real telltale sign is if you don't have enough combustible air, you got scorch marks and things like that, soot build up in the flue. You're getting incomplete combustion there, because you just don't have enough combustible air. Let's see. I had a couple more things about that. I apologize. I got the code stuff right here. If we wanted to get too technical. Oh yeah, let's talk about this for a second. If you have a closed system with a check valve on it, you've got to have something to allow for thermal expansion besides the TPR valve, and that's accomplished through expansion tanks. Expansion tanks should not exceed 80 pounds per square inch. The size of the expansion tank has to do with the size of the water heater, and that's another thing. There should be, near the water heater, there should be in plastic, the manufacturer's instructions. Okay, so you have code, and then you have manufacturer's instructions or suggestions, and that can override code. So that's why it's important to any inspector, plumber coming to see the system. If there's something that is specific to this unit, they can look it up, like the expansion tank. A couple of other things. If it's a gas water heater, it has to be protected. They basically have a pipe there, and there's some, I've got it here, but I don't want to bore you with that. The exact dimension, it has to be a certain minimum. It's basically like a pipe that has its own footer. That's basically like that thing that, you ever seen that thing that protects the gas pump at the gas station? Same thing, because the idea is if it's in the garage and a car rolls up on it, for some reason, you think you're in reverse and you're in drive, pop, you don't want to hit something with a flame and an open gas line. That would be horrific. So that's why the water heater is protected. And it also has to be 18 inches off the ground, because a lot of things like paint thinner, things like that, the fumes are low, and that's where the flame is. So we don't want anything like that. So it has to be 18 inches off the ground, and it has to be protected if it's in the garage. Well, I hope that has been helpful with inspecting gas water heater with a tank, not the on-demand. We'll make other videos for that. If you have any questions about home inspection, or we can help in any way, go to homeinspectioncarolina.com and contact us on there and shoot us an email. And if we don't know the answer, we'll try to find somebody who does for you. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a good day.